Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. This is Fisherman Vlog number 20, and I have a bunch of updates for you today. I thought I'd start off with this. This is the left-hand Daphnia culture, and it is doing really well. It's kind of hard to tell because I fed it both algae this morning and yeast. But I'm going to catch out some a little later on, and you'll see there's actually a lot in there, and I have been feeding it to a lot of my fish, so it is doing exactly what I want it to, and there's nothing really wrong I can say with that. This, on the other hand, is the right-hand Daphnia culture, and I don't think there are any in here, which is really bizarre. You can tell by the green color there really isn't anything feeding on it. I treat it exactly the same as the other one. I feed it with algae and yeast, and ever since I bought that culture from a local person, that particular culture crashed, and I said, well, it doesn't really matter. I guess it was just a difference in water or whatever. So what I do in the morning when I feed these, I dump some of this into there, and I expect these ones would catch on. As you can see right here in a second, there's plenty of Daphnia in here. So I'm just going to dump these back in here, and I'm going to do the same thing with the next tank over, and there's nothing in there. It's bizarre. I am going to continue doing the water changes and inoculating this with Daphnia for probably about another week, I suspect. And then after that, I am going to completely drain this. And here you go. There's nothing in there. It's bizarre. I just don't understand it at all. If nothing else, I dumped in, a full, yogurt container, whatever you want to call it, of Daphnia from the other one this morning and every morning. So they're dying, and I have no idea why. So it's one of those things. I probably will end up just scrapping that culture completely, and then I'll subdivide the one on the left, put it in there, and we should be fine after that. The next update I want to show you is this. This is the Ultra Deep Bed Under Gravel filter. This is 10 inches of gravel, and it's actually doing really well now. If you remember when I first set it up, it was a little bit cloudy, but I suspected it was from, all the extra dirty gravel that got dumped into it, and that's pretty much the case. I mean, it's settled down, and it's doing what it should do. And as you can see, the fish are nice and perky and healthy, and the plants are doing really well as well, even though this tank here, which is on the far left of the new part of the recycled rack, there really isn't any light over this tank, but it doesn't seem to make much of a difference. It's doing exactly what it should do. And I'll let this run for a little while longer, probably a few months, and then I'm going to put a high humidity planter filter above that as well. The next few clips are all about guppies. Now, I know on Wednesday I asked you guys whether you would prefer I put in platies or guppies in the 3 tanks, the ones that are going to be doing the plant growth experiments for the different substrates, and you guys chose platies. Unfortunately, it's going to have to be guppies. Now, hopefully you'll understand. As we go through these clips, I'll try and explain my reasonings, and hopefully you'll understand. First off, I'm just going to feed, this is vinegar eels, and I'm going to feed them to some guppies that were born yesterday, I think. As you can see, they're really quite tiny. I feed a bunch of different stuff to pretty much all my fish. The first few days, everybody who's born gets vinegar eels, and also ground up flake food. And before I add the yeast into the Daphnia culture, I take out a tub of that and I pour it into the tank. It has a whole pile of stuff in it, so it's really good for that. And also I'll put in some microworms, and they get fed about 4 or 5 times a day for the first little while, and then I ease it off to about 2 times a day once they get to about the size of those slightly larger ones you see there. Anyway, that's just my feeding regime. It has nothing to do with why I'm choosing guppies, except for the fact that I have quite a few now. I have a fair number of guppies, and I have enough of them. I think I can do a good mix, but that's only the first reason. I'm going to get to the rest as the clips progress here, but first I want to show you the planters here. These are starting to do well, but it's mostly this one here I wanted to show you. That is Red Luigia there, just in the middle, and it is pretty much doubled in size since I put that in there, and I'm hoping that it's going to grow more and show some interesting colors and stuff, so we'll see how that goes. Right now it's being fed by the poop from these guys. These are the high-fin peppercorys, and they are actually showing a little bit in the way of pre-spawning behavior, so I'm kind of hoping that they're going to do something shortly, because I would really like to have a bunch of those. Alright, back to why I need to use guppies for this. My clients are starting to open up, and I need a bunch of fish. So guppies are really good at breeding quickly, as you can tell. And I'm going to subdivide this culture here, or colony. I need to pull a bunch of them out, and I'm going to do that at the same time. And then I have a whole pile of juveniles, as you can see in here. So what I want to do is I want to set up these 3 tanks mostly with juvenile fish, because I want to see how they're going to grow in each of the 3 setups. And also I want to pull out those 2 males, these 2 guys here. They've been in this since, well, way back when I took down the 7-foot tank. They were babies then, and they've been doing really well. They're nice and colorful. But I want to put them in a normal aquarium with, with females, and see how they're going to breed and stuff, and see how this is all going to turn out. Even though this tank looks like it's a mess, it is actually really quite healthy, as you can see how they're growing. And the other thing I want to do is I want to divide up this one here too. This is a slightly different variety, strain, whatever you want to call it. They're all mutts, of course. I'm going to divide this up, and they're going to go into each of the 3 tanks. And I want to see especially how these guys compare in size and color to the ones in the last clip, because they are roughly the same age, and they've been fed on the standard stuff I feed. So this is the plant experiment. Now you'll notice I'm panning up here because these 2 tanks are having light blocked from above by that piece of plywood. So I was noticing that the tank, with the gravel tank and the soil tank, were just a little bit darker than the one on the far right. So what I'm going to do here is I put in a couple of pieces of aluminum, and I'm going to prop up that filter there, so that I took away the plywood. So that light here goes now down in here, and all 3 tanks are now getting the same amount of light, because I didn't want that to be, a bit of a flaw in the strategy for setting these up. So now the light is equal as well. So all I have to do left on this is just big water change for all 3, and then balance out the numbers of scuds and snails and cherry shrimp. Someone suggested, or actually I think a couple people suggested, I do a 4th setup but with no fish. Now if I'm going to do that, I have to scrap this experiment here. Now this is the new version for the leak-proof canister filter. It is just getting to the point now where it's actually beginning to do what it's supposed to do, and it is currently running this tank of OB convicts and plecos. I've been breeding too many plecos. They're just everywhere. I have to find room for them, and hopefully, like I said, I'll be able to put some of my clients' tanks shortly, because right now it's just insane how many I have. This is the only tank I have that is under the same lights and will have all the same regime. So you guys need to let me know if you want me to take that experiment down and set that tank up plants only, and whether you want it as gravel, soil, or commercial grade planter substrate. So it has to go there, because the only other tanks that are under these lights are these 2 here, and I simply do not want to take them down. They're doing very well. So you'll have to let me know what you think about that. That is my only option if you guys want to see a 4th tank and have it fish free, just to see if whichever of those substrates is actually going to do anything. So let me know about that in the comments below, please. So the last few clips here now are going to be what I call the starter. I've done the water change. I've balanced them out for snails and for cherry shrimp and for scuds, so they're all relatively the same now. And this is going to be what I would call day 0. So I'm just going to save this as, like I said, as my benchmark for when I do future videos, as a comparison for growth. And actually, this is before the water change. My bad. Sorry. This is before the water change, and then the last 3 clips will be after the water change. There's not really much difference between the 2. But again, the last 3 clips will be day 0, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to let these sit for probably another couple of days or more, and then I'm going to put the guppies in, and then that will all start as well. So yeah, this is the last clip. This is the 3rd tank, and then I'm going to do the water change, and then I think did a couple more fiddles with the number of creatures in there, and then Yeah, there you go. I see. I can tell now because it's a little more stirred up. This is after the water change, and you can see there's a few more shrimp in this tank, and that's pretty much it. So anyway, that's all set and ready to go now, and we'll see how this all works out. And as always, if you like the style of video, please like and or subscribe, and always let me know in the comments below what you think of what's going on, and we'll see how this progresses. I mean, I won't do weekly updates on this because it is going to be an ongoing experiment, but hopefully it will show some interesting details shortly, and then I will let you know all about that when that happens. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.